All right, we are live. We are live. I'm gonna give people some time to come on in here and join us this evening. How you doing today, Pat?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
And I'm doing amazing. Happy to be here with you tonight to talk about some exciting things that we have to talk about today.
Yes, sir. Talking about digital DTT, my favorite topic.
Yes, yes, and you've been making some waves, so I'm excited to get into it. We got some people on Instagram joining us. We are live here on our first President's Corner that we're doing remotely. So I'm excited to be on here with you. I'm gonna give about 30 more seconds and then we'll get started. All right, I see we got some people joining. We're on YouTube right now. We're on LinkedIn right now. We are on Instagram and we are on Facebook. So I'm monitoring the chat across all these things right now. So thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, doing it all.
All right. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everybody to our very first President's Corner here on Beyond the Science. I'm your host, Jeron Trotman, and this is a brand new segment that we're doing. And I couldn't be more happy to kick this off with Patrick. This segment, I'm gonna let everybody know we're gonna really having real, raw conversations with trailblazers in our field, people who are shaking things up. And tonight we're kicking things off with something big. Okay, so um, I'm joined by Patrick from FirstWork, and we're going to be diving into some game-changing shifts in how we approach discrete trial training. Also, some of you guys call it discrete trial instruction. They're synonymous terms. We're talking about traditional versus digital DTT, and it's time to maybe retire the binders and the flashcards here and the chaos. Let's maybe find out as Pat tells us a little bit more about what we have going on here. So before we get into it, I have a quick comparison video lined up with traditional versus DTT. So Pat, hold on. I want us all to watch this and our audience to watch this, and then after we watch this, we're gonna break it down. Right?
Let's get into it.
All right, let's watch it. All right. I have a lot of thoughts already on that when I saw that. Let me see if we have any comments in the audience first. Jordan is from Australia right now. Jordan said, saying hi from Australia. He said we're going to be sharing this platform with a few people we meet. Okay, so we got people wanting to share already. I have another comment from LinkedIn. Who do we have? It is Kelly. Hey, Patrick and Jeron, love this comparison. Hey, Kelly, thanks for stopping in with us tonight. Um, so let's talk about what we just saw. We just saw this raw video, and I know folks are watching that are maybe still using discrete, traditional DTT. Pat, talk to us about some of those, limitations and maybe using the traditional of running trials and what we just saw in that video.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the main thing that kind of comes across from that video, and it's true really of digital lessons in general, is that by not having to do all of that setup work, you're able to get the trial done in a much quicker period of time and the whole session done a lot more quickly. So if you really think about it, a lot of what's being done in a DTT DTI setting is really setting up that next array. There's that manual process where the instructor needs to lay out the cars, they need to do the error correction, and because those are manual processes, that ends up actually taking up almost the majority of the time that is spent on the lesson. So just in general, like by switching over to doing digital, you spend a lot less time, on the whole experience, because pretty much the whole experience is dictated by how quickly a learner is responding. So you can really match the pace of a learner and not have as much of that downtime from the learner's perspective, where you're kind of setting up the next thing for them to do.
Okay, awesome. And even when we were seeing that timer just now already, I've done a lot of discrete trial instruction, and I know that would save me a lot of times with my learners with prep. And also, with behaviors that may come up with time that you have to spend doing that. So, between material costs and amount of paid time spent in preparation, it says here that costs have been reduced by 75%. That is a crazy stat.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. But the costs of DTT are really in two buckets. There's of course like the actual printing and laminating needs to happen. Color ink is usually what's used as well, so that kind of amplifies that cost compared to kind of using standard black and white printing. But then there's also this really important cost of the time that the BCBAs spend in admin time, and it typically is BCBAs who end up doing the material preparation. So you combine all the time that is typically spent on doing material preparation, especially if that's paid admin time, with the amount of materials that are used for these lessons. It starts to add up really quickly, especially because it's a pretty continual process. Even if you make the perfect set of cards, a week goes by, you're gonna lose some of those cards. They're gonna be damaged. So it's something that's always happening, and being able to have all the materials in one place on an application just allows you to move away from that material preparation process and sort of just into having what you need whenever you need it.
Man, listen, I appreciate that, because I know a lot of us on here, a lot of BAs on here, plenty of us have been digging through laminated flashcards, running around trying to find materials. And by the time you start, your kid is already over
it. Yeah.
We've all been there. But it's really kind of what we've always seen. So tell me, like, really what really makes it different? Like, what makes this a game changer, as opposed to just traditional, and from what you've experienced?
Yeah, I think there's two big buckets that that really define that kind of change. And to me, it's efficiency and accessibility. So to talk about efficiency first, there's of course not having to create all those materials. That's obviously more efficient than having to create all those materials. But then also, as we saw inside that video, there's that in-session efficiency as well. So, you're not making that big transition to the table, which can often be a little bit challenging. You're not spending all that time setting up those trials. So something that would typically take a couple minutes to do, just even if you're doing one trial, is something that, can happen in less than a minute a lot of the time. So, there's a huge difference in the amount of time that it takes to deliver any lessons, especially because you don't need to do that transition, get all that kind of stuff. And then the second side of it is the accessibility side. So DTT, in my view, is a really wonderful pedagogy. It allows you to break things down on a level that really matches the needs of any given learner, which is why it's such a wonderful thing. But it really does require that knowledgeable instructor on the other side to set up any trial. So something that parents typically don't get involved in because there's just a lot of nuance to it, and it's something that just doesn't scale that well outside of ABA. So for instance, it's not that common in the special education context, even though the same learners might benefit from it there. So by being able to put it into an application format, you're able to use it just in a much broader context. So it's something that special education teams use. It's something that parents use. It's something that entry-level technicians can use without the same need for, robust training to start delivering trials really well. So in my mind, the two places where there are really big differences are in that efficiency side, whether you're thinking about the preparation or the actual delivery, and the accessibility side, thinking about the who's, what's, when's, and where's of when this can really happen.
Man, I love this. And I'm encouraging people who maybe have questions about the work that FirstWork is doing, put them in a chat while we're here, ask away while we have Patrick here as well. Now, we're not just talking theory here. People are actually using this. People are actually seeing the impact firsthand, and you have people already using this. Could you talk to us a little bit about what feedback you've gotten from people that have been using this app already?
Yeah, of course. So there's a few big kind of categories of feedback that we get quite regularly. At this point, there's actually around 10,000 BCBAs and special educators who use FirstWork. So we've gotten quite a lot of feedback, and we're also doing research studies. So we've been able to measure a lot of this with some scientific rigidity. And what we've heard is speed is a big one. So trials can often be completed about 4 times more quickly than they can with the application, without an application. And really all of that comes down to not having to do that setup time. There's no magic. It's just that you don't need to lay out those cards. And in reality, that's taking up a huge portion of the time that's spent on DTT in session. So speed is a really big one. Another one is that learners often really enjoy FirstWork. And of course, this is a much harder thing to measure, kind of on a robust level, but we get notes all the time from professionals who tell us that, there's a learner that they're working with who really didn't enjoy physical cards for whatever reason. It just wasn't their thing. But they enjoy tablet-based learning. They enjoy the tablet. And so by being able to shift over to digital delivery, and there's a lot of learners who weren't really jiving very much with the traditional setup, but who find the digital setup is a lot more fun. So it just works out a lot better for those learners. And then a big one too is that independent learning component. So something that is true of any traditional lesson is that it's dyadic. It requires both of those people. Yeah. It's not something that can be done independently. But by making it in an app format, especially when you consider the reward system that's in FirstWork, it's something that can be done much more independently by learners, in some cases, even entirely independently. So one special education team that we're working with shared a really wonderful note in one of their testimonials for us, that there is an entire classroom where they'll set up basically independent learning time on FirstWork. So everybody will have their custom program. They're all working towards goals that are really relevant to them. And they're able to access rewards that really matter to them as well. These are digital rewards in the form of access to fun stuff on the tablet. So with FirstWork, you can earn 5 minutes of YouTube time, for instance, after completing a lesson. So you can have both customized lessons, customized rewards, and it's something that learners can typically self-navigate pretty well. So in a lot of cases, if you have the right prerequisite skills in place and you have the right reinforcers in place, it's something where one instructor can work with many learners, as opposed to it being something where it's really quite one-on-one. So definitely a big shift, and something that, especially in the special education context, where there's a lot more one-to-many instruction, really is quite a game changer, where, DTT is not typically part of special education the same way it is in ABA, but with FirstWork, it's something that's really able to kind of expand the scope and bring a little bit of ABA into the special education context.
That's powerful, and that's powerful. I love hearing you share how there's actually folks in the trenches using this every day. Less stress, better sessions, more engagement. Now, who wouldn't want that, right? Well, I can see this being really useful for like organizations too.
Yeah.
To try out, for their staff and things of that nature. So for those of you guys who are watching, who are thinking, I need to try this, well, look at this banner we have right below me and Pat. Try FirstWork for free and get a discount. You get a discount through the ABA Collab if you love the app. Check out the app, firstwork.com /ABA Collective. We may be changing that as well, but we'll make sure we get that right. But listen, and this is a real benefit for saving time. All of our practitioners in our community, making your sessions go smoother and actually being able to just sit in and enjoy the work that you're doing without having to maybe worry about some of that hassle. So when I saw you first doing this, I was, man, like, this is a great, I was like, man, why didn't I think of this idea? Because this is awesome, man. So I love this work that you're doing. I'm excited to see our community embrace FirstWork, because it really does seem like you're just empowering clinicians more to be able to spend more work doing the work that they want to do with their learners and less time worried about the hassle. So you and your team are doing a great job. Yeah, absolutely. Anything else that you want to share with the listeners while we have you on here?
Yeah, I think one thing that I'd love to share is just a little bit about how we built the application and sort of how we prioritize things. So every single component of FirstWork has been directly recommended by a really, really large number of BCBAs. We got started with a beta with 1,000 BCBAs, and that's where we got our first big task list of things that would be really helpful to make the app more actionable and something that was really having utility that the concept kind of has. But of course, there's a big difference between a concept and something that really actually does what you want it to do. So we're really, really open to feedback. If there's ever anything that folks suggest, that's something we take super, super seriously. And it's really how we kind of have made the application what it is today. So there's been lots and lots of iteration over time. And in my mind, it's really a community effort. We try to kind of listen to everybody and incorporate all of the voices that we can into building the application. And in my mind, that's been a really major source of strength for the product, and just kind of how it's been able to grow in its impact over time, is that we try not to do too much independent thinking in terms of, I think this is the greatest thing that would be in the application. We really defer that to kind of the collective opinion of the BCBAs who are using the application. So if you do want to check out the application, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your feedback and, just kind of work with you to build something that can hopefully continue to make life a little bit easier and save people a little bit of that material preparation time at Wednesday and 9, and then also make those sessions a little bit more fun for learners and quicker for everybody involved. So just wanted to share a little bit about that ethos, and that we really value just being able to work with all the wonderful BCBAs out there. I've never met a BCBA who isn't in it for great reasons, and it's been super great to kind of be a part of the community and get to work with everybody.
Man, this is amazing. I see FirstWork being here for a very long time. This is very needed. I love seeing entrepreneurs and innovators like yourself creating things, creating spaces, creating materials to empower clinicians to better serve the communities and individuals that they're working with. So this is really dope stuff, man. I really appreciate you coming in and dropping knowledge on us. We're gonna have you back on the President's Corner to get some updates about how the app's going and who's buying and all those things. So I'd love to do that. And I'm excited to see the people make this switch. I'm encouraging people to try this out. You can try it out for free, get a discount. So I want to encourage all of our people watching, if you're a little hesitant, try it out, give some feedback, let us know if there's anything that he can improve upon the company, let us know, so we can improve this product. So Pat, I really appreciate you coming on here for a few minutes, spend some time on the President's Corner. Beyond the Science. Guys, if you've gotten value from this, follow Patrick, follow FirstWork, follow Beyond the Science, and share with your colleagues. Make sure you're following us for more conversations like this. Huge shout out to Patrick and the team at FirstWork for leading this charge in digital DTT. Let's continue to push our field forward and continue to empower our community, guys. So until next time, y'all stay learning, stay growing, and let's all continue to keep making impact together. And we'll talk with you guys later.
Thanks, everybody.